Hello, sir.
Hello, Namrata.
Sir, in the context of National Youth Day coming on January 12th, 130 years ago, Swami Vivekananda have said this, give me 100 energetic Indians and I'll transform India. I believe in it, sir. If not completely, but significant majority, if that changes, yes, it will become a stronger India. So in this background, what can youth role play both to develop their own individually and both to contributing to the society? In what way can?
Now, if we understand why Vivekananda's life inspired us to declare his birthday as a National Youth Day, I think even the path also will be clear. What was his role in nation building? First, the Hindu and Indian tradition of spiritualism was essentially a link between the individual and the God, the devotee and the deity. It was not much about society. Vivekananda brought the element of society into it. He said, unless you serve the community, you cannot reach God. So he tried to combine individual growth with collective good, and he spiritualized it. The second thing is, he brought all of India together, caste, region, religion, etc., in fact, all of humanity. He preached the idea of universality of human beings, and definitely within the country, he wanted us to transcend caste, region, religion, language. And that's why he is one of the founding fathers of our nationalism. If there is an Indian nation, a sense of nationhood, transcending many barriers and narrow domestic walls, as Tagore said in the country, Gandhiji on the one hand and Vivekananda on the other hand, they both contributed to that. In fact, Vivekananda before Gandhiji. In the next generation, Gandhiji came and he consolidated that. So they were the founding pillars of Indian nationalism. The idea of transcending the barriers in a very diverse society. The third one, he wanted the youth to have self-confidence. He didn't want us to feel inferior because of the race or birth. He wanted us to grow as human beings, both physically and intellectually, to acquire skills, to be of relevance to society. All these three are incredibly important messages even today. Let us leave the first one, spiritualism, away, but the other two are incredibly important. Unless we combine individual growth with public good, that one cannot exist without the other. If my growth is unrelated to public good, it is feudalism, it's exploitation, it's extortion. Whereas my growth is linked to public good, it is wealth creation. For instance, take employment. Your employment has to create goods and services for me. That means I get employment if I fulfill your needs. If I get employment without fulfilling your needs and I get income, I'm a parasite. I'm an exploiter. That is what happened in feudal societies. Unfortunately, some political parties are propagating the message that government employment is the way to prosperity. It's absurd nonsense. Government is here to create goods and services for the people, the collective services for the people which individuals cannot by themselves create. And to that extent, government requires some employees. And if you think that government employment is employment, then what about the rest of the society? Government can never employ more than 2 to 3% of the workforce of the country, anywhere in the world. So people must give up this slavishness of depending on government. Government is created by us for our collective good. And therefore, we must combine individual good with public gain. Individual greatness or fulfilling your own aspirations and dreams with public good. That is the greatest message of Swami Vivekananda ji. And therefore, build the economy, become strong individually, acquire the skills, be physically strong, and focus on the amenities and services and the goods that the people require. It meets their requirements, it fulfills your need for a job or for a livelihood. And both are possible, individual growth and public good. And transcend the boundaries, because even today India is beset by all these divisions of caste, region, religion, language, and increasingly even political parties seen almost a religion. You're fighting each other on grounds of your party versus my party, forgetting what is public good. The debate is completely distorted. Transcend them. There is one country. In fact, if you can rise above that, there's one humanity. Therefore, whatever be the origins, it's the accident of birth that call you a person of this caste or that religion or this language or that community. You could have been born anywhere. None of us have chosen to be where we are. We are accidents of nature. So recognize that. Don't be beset by these divisions. Transcend that, recognize the humanity of it, and work for the collective good of humanity. If these two things we understand, and I think the nation's greatness and individuals' own flourishing, fulfilling their aspirations, both are possible. India is on the cusp of history. Enormous improvement is possible in our economy, in the living conditions of the country. A concomitance of circumstances now gives us an opportunity for the next 20, 30 years to accelerate the growth rate, but it is not a given. It is not our birthright. We must make it happen. That means we must focus on our own abilities, our own skills to be able to create goods and services for others, and our own sense of unity of purpose in the country, transcending all the divisions. Then this generation can make a phenomenal difference, because the youth of today are in many ways very privileged. Because they are bright, they are intelligent, they are capable, they are technically very skilled, and they have the same passion and idealism as all youth of all generations possess, and they want to transform human society and our own country. So youth must channelize that energy constructively and creatively, and be confident. Vivekananda always talked about being confident, self-confidence, optimism, not a sense of despair and pessimism. Yes, there are so many challenges around us in our society and across the globe, but we have the ability to transcend them, to overcome those challenges. And the youth of this generation particularly are very privileged. No other generation in human history had this opportunity. Because for the first time in human history, you have the resources and you have the technology to fulfill all the aspirations of people, reasonable aspirations of people, to fulfill all human potential, to eliminate all avoidable suffering. Earlier it was a dream. Today it is a reality. It is realistically within reach. So don't despair. Don't be cynical. Don't give up. But be pragmatic. Acquire the strength. Hope without skills or ability is romanticism. So romanticism is not optimism. True optimism is having the ability to actually utilize the opportunities to make a difference, to eliminate avoidable suffering, and to fulfill all human potential. And every single Indian must get the benefit of this, transcending caste, region, religion. If only a few get the benefit of education and skills, if only a few prosper, if the rest are poor, as Lincoln said, a house divided against itself will fall. We'll be a house divided against ourselves. We have to make sure that everybody gets a reasonable opportunity. And that's the message of Swami Vivekananda. And I think that is the relevant message for Youth Day, National Youth Day even today, and particularly at this time, in this age.
I agree, sir. United we stand, divided we fall. Thank you, sir.